Yo, what is up, YouTube and Twitter? Back with another video. Trader Mayne here. I promised I'm going to try and do one of these a week for all of 2020. That is one of my goals, so here I am. I don't have a ton of time this morning, but I want to get something up for you guys quickly about Bitcoin and ETH. Just kind of give you an update on my thoughts. I've been taking a bit of a break on Twitter, so this will be a good update for you guys as well. As generally I try and tweet my thoughts quite a bit, but just been getting a little bit too into Twitter lately. I had a period where I was trading really poorly, and I was dealing with a lot of trolls and just BS on Twitter. And, sometimes you got to step back and remind yourself that this is just a website. And so who gives a fuck what anyone thinks on here? But it is funny, like I like to think that, I always, it's one of those things, easier said than done, right? Like, so I'm a big preacher in, I'm a big, kind of preacher of not letting other people's opinions, what other people say, whether that's online, in person, in real life, in your online life, affect you. I believe your perception is your reality. How you perceive situations is up to you, and that defines, the existence that you live. But easier said than done. Sometimes I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I engage with the trolls. Sometimes I let that shit get to me a little more than it should. And I just felt like that's kind of where I'd been getting with Twitter the last couple of months. And it's strange to me because, I was, I don't know if there's some sort of useful analysis I can glean from this, but when I was trading poorly, which was really, kind of end of July. I mean, I had a good long here, but end of July through August, like August through October, I had a pretty bad stretch. What's funny is I still made money, but I mainly because I own spot Bitcoin and cashed out on some spot trades at good levels, but my leverage trading, my margin trading was very poor. But it's funny, I was an extreme bull here. And I was getting hundreds and hundreds of likes per post and being fucking ass backwards wrong, but I was also dealing with a lot of Twitter trolls and shit. And now that I've basically, called this medium-term bottom, is it the ultimate higher low from here? I personally think it is, but I absolutely could be wrong. And then called this top as well. My engagement had kind of dried up. And I don't know, for some reason I let it bother me way more than it should have. Like, this is a fucking website. Who gives a fuck? But it's just funny, I've been posting about this 10.4 area being the top for a while. And then, there's people posting the same shit. I've been talking about this since the end of January, right? This is where you want to hedge above 10K. And I've been posting this. I've been posting alt trades, long ETH since 123, stop, entry, target, all this shit on Twitter. And to be honest with you, this has been since mid-December. This has been my, my best trading. That I've had in a long time. Mid-December until now, because I'm still fucking crushing it, has been my best streak of trading since here. And it's like, how do you fuck up this, right? Same thing here, right? I mean, we're in an uptrend, you're just longing. It's not like I'm doing anything revolutionary. But I've been on a solid roll. And posting a lot of shit for you guys about, my trades, and just I don't know, for some reason, like, I'm posting shit in advance and then other people are posting the same shit after, and just it was like getting more likes than me, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I doing? Why is this bothering me? So I'm like, you know what, the fact that this is bothering me is telling me that I need to take a fucking step back from Twitter. So that's exactly what I did. Like, I posted this like on Twitter, basically shorting the most recent top, And like I had a bunch of people being like, "Oh, you posted this like after it happened." It's like, okay, price was at 10,100 when I posted this. It happened to dump like minutes later. That's not my fucking fault. I entered the short the day before. I just didn't post it on Twitter. Unfortunately for people, if I post a lot of stuff on Twitter, some of it in advance, some of it after the fact. It's not my job to make my every single move apparent to you guys. I do my best to share my analysis, but like at the end of the day, no, you're never going to learn anything if you're just trying to copy the trades that I take. So I try and post rather directional analysis and kind of high time frame macro thoughts, and then you make your own fucking decisions, right? This was posted on February 12th. I think this was the top, and then it was. And I gave you, my levels on the way down and everything, and I got like flack for this. People telling me it was going to go higher, blah, blah, blah. So whatever. It is what it is. I posted the fucking where I thought the bottom was in January. Thousands of dollars ago. And again, like fucking people giving me shit. So I'm just like, you know what? The fact that this is bothering me, it's obviously time to take a break. So that's what I did, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I'm going to stay on my Twitter hiatus until March. This was a great tweet. Right after we dumped, 8,700, I said, is where I think we'll go. And this has been my plan. It's not like this is something new, right? I said 8,700 is where I'll look next, right? And then 7,700, and I talked about this in like 2 YouTube videos ago about this really deep pullback for a higher low, 61 to 78% retracement. So I've talked about this. This is not like it's something new. Remember, rants are included in my videos. So if you don't enjoy my rants, this is not the channel for you. I'm sorry. But I talked about 8,700 and 7,600 and 7,700 a long time ago, right? So this is nothing new, but after we dumped, everyone's like, oh, we're dumping. Now you're calling for those levels. It's like, no, fuckface. I've been talking about the same shit consistently for 3 fucking months. So if you're too lazy to go back and read my feed and you just see one tweet and make a judgment call, well, then, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Well, clearly, maybe I do give a fuck, but, I don't want to give a fuck. So it's like, fuck you. I'm just not going to engage with that shit anymore. So, in my dreams, like, it's going to be awesome when this happens and I can come back and retweet all these people, who disagree with me. Because I think I love you too, Crypto Hippo. Like this guy's going to be getting a response. So what I'm going to do is, stay off Twitter till March. It's been really good. My trading's been going very well without it. And then, I'll come back to it, and hopefully we're at 8,700 and I can rub a little salt in the wounds of all those losers because I'm the bigger man. Just kidding. So, these are kind of the last 2 thoughts I left with you on Twitter. So now let's talk about, the charts and kind of why I think this is what's going to happen. So, if you're in my Discord, just because I haven't been on Twitter, I've still been actively trading, so that same day I said I'm taking a break, basically said I think the top on ETH is in here. This was at 275. We're into this strong weekly resistance here. I ended up longing ETH from like the bottom. What is this? Let's just use this for now. But to me, this is an area, yes, we deviated above here, but to me, this is like an over-under, right? But I know it's taking a long time to play. I don't think it's going all the way there, but to me, this level is still relevant, right? Even though we went over it here. So I basically thought this was the top on this candle. We also had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weekly green candles in a row. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you that this move is probably overextended and due for a correction. This has gone straight up with literally no pullback for 9 weeks in a row. So generally when I see shit like that into weekly resistance, pretty no-brainer trade for me. So was talking about this in Discord. I said the low time, if we get through here, we're looking at 400, but I don't think we're going to break. Low time frame starting to look weak, right? So I posted this. We were starting to look kind of double toppy. And then we ended up making a kind of triple top, not quite. This is a lower high, and it looks like we're about to make a lower low now. So looks like I was right there. This is looking exhausted, looking due for a decent pullback. So, where do I think ETH pulls back to? If I'm looking at the weekly chart, so there's that resistance area. Okay, where am I looking for ETH to pull back to? This would be my first area of interest right here. This previous high, it also comes into this kind of order block here. If you took the EQ of that order block, it's probably right where we're at now, about 250. Yeah, 250 on the button. So I'm thinking we pull back into here. This is the first area of interest for me. And then the next area that I like is going to be right here. So these are my two targets on my ETH short. So what I did is, I thought the top was in. I thought it was looking toppy. Continued to watch price a little longer. I'm like, okay, now I definitely think the top is in. So I'm trying to get short. So basically what I did is I zoomed into a lower time frame, right? So high time frame is where I do my analysis. And then the lower time frame, and the lower time frame for me can be the daily, the 12-hour, the 4-hour, right? The weekly is the weekly and the 3 days, like my high time frame. Then the daily, the 12-hour, the 4-hour. That is where I execute on. So basically, what I was looking for, and I'll show you here, is was a pullback into this 12-hour order block and then a sell. Okay, so there's that 12-hour order block. I wanted to pull back into it and then a sell, and you can see that's what happened, right? So there's that 12-hour order block. We broke down, pulled back, I sold it, right? And yeah, you can see, so I posted this, right? Breakdown, pull back, and there it happens here, right? There's your breakdown, your pullback, your sell. So I ended up taking that trade. I ended up taking that trade here per that analysis, and it's looking good right now. What I did do, which was a mistake, and I'll kind of explain this to you, is I ate some fees here. So I was watching for some reason, because I'm an idiot, like I've been so dialed in trading on the high time frame and ignoring anything below the 4-hour. It's been great, but decided to I was at my office and I'm just like staring at the Bitcoin chart on the 15-minute, and this is right here. And what I saw was this. I'm like, oh, Bitcoin. So I entered my ETH short, and for some reason I had the 15-minute chart open, and I'm like, oh, Bitcoin just broke through this little mini SR level. Maybe it's going to pump up a couple $100. And then I looked over at ETH, and we had the same SR level, almost identical price action, but it was lagging. So Bitcoin broke through, and I'm like, maybe I can cut my ETH trade and enter a little higher. And then obviously this is a little blip on the 15-minute, right? The high time frame is the dominant trend. The high time frame is down, right? That little blip, is nothing. We just saw continuation to the downside. And so I ended up cutting my ETH trade at like break even, hoping I'd be able to get in higher. And then it went up to like 266.50, and then it started breaking down again. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I re-entered at the exact same price, 265, but I basically ate some fees. And I lost a couple $100 just being stupid. So, I mean, as much as I've been trading for a long time, and I'm consistently making money with it, I still make mistakes. So, I mean, that's something that's going in the journal. Mayne, don't look at the fucking 15-minute chart. You have no business there. The high time frame is where I took my trade from. It's where I made my analysis, and then I went and fucking exited my trade on the 15-minute only to re-enter literally minutes later. So I exited at break even. Obviously lost money because when you exit at break even, there's fees for the orders. I don't think my exit was exactly at break even. And then I jumped back in literally 15 minutes later. So just cost myself couple hundred bucks, but that's a Monday. But, got back in and, we're obviously looking good now. So happy with how that trade is looking. So Ethereum, yeah, I'm watching this range low test first, right? It looks like we're making, we made a lower low relative to here. If we've made a lower low relative to here. If we make a lower low relative to here, this thing is just going to melt. So I do expect some kind of bounce here. So we could see a bounce from here up into like this area and then continuation down. But just looking at this now, I see no doubt this is going to go to my target after how exhausted this is. Going into the weekly resistance, 9 green weekly candles. This seemed like a no-brainer trade for me, so I'm glad I was able to enter it. And you can also see there's that 12-hour order block. So all I've done is I've marked the open and close of this 12-hour order block. That's SR, right? So what do we have form? Where do order blocks form? If you go watch one of my first YouTube videos, where I show you guys how I use order blocks. So I learned order blocks from ICT. I've kind of started using them in my own way. Everyone's got their own flavor for it. Some people call it supply and demand. Everyone's got their own kind of way that they do it, how they mark them. They use wicks. They don't use wicks. But one of my first YouTube videos, I explain how I use them. And one of the things I talk about that I saw on Twitter, because I've been doing Twitter for a long time, it's crazy to think about, but I've been posting pretty much every single fucking day, hella content for like almost 3 years now, or maybe it's been 3 years. So having a break is super nice, and Twitter has changed so much, but I've just been going hard on it. So. It's funny to see how it's changed and it's morphed and some of the new accounts that are here. And I'm stoked. I'm stoked there's more price action traders. 3 years ago when I started posting on Twitter, I was one of the only guys doing pure price action for crypto. That's a fact. You go look at Twitter back in like December of, November of 2017 through, the top and then the bear market. I was one of the only people doing pure price action, and then a lot of these new accounts started showing up. And I'm not saying that that's just purely because of me. I do think I am a part of it because a lot of them were in my Discord and have told me that they learned a lot from me, but I didn't invent it. A lot of them learned from where I learned, from ICT. They learned from Tom Dante, from WMDX, WMD4X, from Trader SZ. So there's a lot of great price action traders out there, but I was one of the first ones doing it in crypto. And so when I first started doing it, I posted a lot of like lessons, for lack of a better term. So if you want to learn how I, do these things, go watch some of my old YouTube videos from like the spring of 2018. I did like hour-long streams where I'd explain order blocks and how I use them to trade. The videos are not as high quality as this one. Not that this one is high quality, but they're a little bit rougher around the edges. I wasn't as tech savvy with how to record my shit, so the audio might be kind of shitty. My chart theme is hideous, so I apologize in advance. But I've done, I believe April 9th, 2018, if my memory serves. It's amazing what my memory has become since I stopped smoking weed. But April 9th, 2018, and the video before and after that, each are like an hour long. One of them's like 2.5 hours. But I go over like, here's how I draw order blocks. Here's where they matter, blah, 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 and how I trade them. And one of the points is order blocks happen at key SR, right? So if I have a key SR level here, let's just delete this one for viewing sake. I have a key 12-hour SR here, right? Look what formed here, a bearish H4 order block that led to this down move. What are you doing? You're selling the retrace. So you sell the pullback right into that H4. There's your entry right here. You have 2 H4 candles to get in. If you're zooming into the hourly, right? You have that's your entry there. If you're zooming into the hourly, right? Here's an hourly order block. forming near that key SR level, right? So order blocks only matter near support and resistance levels. And that's one of the biggest thing that was missing when I saw a lot of people start using order blocks on Twitter. One of the most common questions I got is, hey, I have this, price is here, I have this order block, and price just nuked it. It's like, well, you can find an order block anywhere in the chart. Here's an order block, here's an order block, but the order blocks that are relevant are ones that are near key SR levels. If you're finding order blocks near key SR levels, you have a better chance that that order block is going to get the reaction that you're looking for. And at the end of the day, I treat order blocks just like SR, right? So this is the order block I used for that trade. This is a bullish order block, right? But what happened is when we failed to bounce from it, right? So here's the order block. We failed to bounce. So now I'm going to try and sell a retrace, just like an SR flip. And that's all that's happened here, right? I have this order block. We didn't bounce from it. So I'm now selling it as an SR flip. That's all I did. So yeah, that's my thoughts on ETH. Was happy with the trade. The analysis on call on the top. So to me, pretty straightforward, not rocket science here. Just literally looking at the weekly chart, this thing looked exhausted. So I'm thinking we're starting to see a larger correction on Bitcoin and Ethereum here. And I'll talk about Bitcoin next. But again, so Bitcoin I've been talking about for a while, right? Battling this weekly OBA, need to regain 10.83, but I thought the pullback was going to start here. This is where I hedged all my Bitcoin. And I posted this one for you guys on Twitter, right? I said this shit in advance, hella in advance. So if you didn't catch it, I literally posted the trade here. I get, I guess, the look that it's like, oh, I posted this and then it dumped. But I posted this when price was still above 10,100, was at 10,100, and it dumped like minutes later. It's not my fucking fault. But again, I told you guys the hedge, months ago. So, literally a month ago, I talked about this being the area to hedge. So, it's up to you how you want to use that information. If you want to follow what I do and do it, great. If you want to make your own decisions, great. I don't really care. But I'm going to be engaging with trolls and arguments way less going forward because, Twitter just adds unneeded stress for me. And it's like, I don't need it. I don't gain any value from, arguing with people on Twitter. So why the fuck am I doing it? So I'm just going to keep doing me. And whatever happens, happens. So talked about this being the top, right? And then we didn't get back above 10.3. I ended up entering a short, but 9.5, right, is a key, a key SR level. So I've taken a couple trades on Bitcoin, right? I ended up, shorting only half size here because I did hedge a bunch of Bitcoin up through 10.4, as I said, but I ended up hopping in a margin short. But I thought we were going to get a nice pullback here. Started literally, so I posted this on the 18th. This is when I posted it on Twitter, and then it literally dumped minutes later. So I talked about a potential other short here, which was on this move. Was this here. So basically I longed this. I long this to here, and then I want to short here back down into this order block here because I thought, okay, maybe we're going to get a short low retrace. We ended up coming a lot higher, so I ended up getting stopped out, but I ended up getting a little long here for like 1.8R, and then I tried to short, got stopped. But the idea was, whatever the lower high comes, is going to be the just a lower high. I was like, whatever happens here, even if we do pump, it's just going to be a lower high, and I want to, potentially compound, open a new short if you didn't get my 10-150 short. So ended up getting stopped on that, but the analysis was basically this. So this is from one of my last YouTube videos. I expected a bounce off 9.5, but I expected it to generate a lower high, and then once it generates the lower high, you put your risk above the high, and then you sell a pullback, right? So what does that look like? There's your bounce. There's your lower high. Now your risk is defined. Now you're looking to sell any of these pullbacks, right? With your stop above there, targeting here. So to me, you know, Bitcoin is starting to look cooked. It's at a point now, right? We came into that weekly order block. And so I talked about this in my last video. I talked about this on Twitter. Everyone who was, you know, shorting here for new lows, shorting this entire way up, a bunch of accounts started getting bullish above 10K. Go on Twitter and look. A bunch of accounts who were shorting this entire way up all started talking about longs once we got to 10K. That was a good sign, you know, for my bias. You know, we are finally coming into what I thought was high time frame resistance where you might want to look to short. We did make a higher high in my opinion, but again, this move is 60% off the low without a retrace, right? Everyone is shorting this entire move until here, and then now that we're finally at high time frame resistance, right? Everyone is looking to long to 12K. That's when you want to flip bearish, in my opinion. So that's what I did, you know, and Don Alt also nailed this. So, you know, kudos to him, but he was only one of the only other people who I saw at least who was, you know, bearish at the proper place, not shorting this entire way up and then flipping bullish here. So, this started looking cooked for me here, right? 60% off the low without a major retrace. It's not as gnarly as ETH. We did have a couple, you know, one pullback candle here, but still 60% off the low. I expected this candle to close red, and it did. Now, if we start, so where are my levels from? First of all, 95.56 is this previous high. 87.27 is this high here, and this high here. If you go to the 3-day chart, the 87.27 level is also right in the middle of this order block here. The 91.90 level is this wick here. So I think we might get a small bounce from here, but ultimately I'm expecting 8,700, so I can stunt on these fucking hoes. Wherever the fuck I said that, here, 8,700. But that's where those levels come from, and then this 76.29 level, I believe is just this low here. It's also this kind of range high. You could just make this level 7,700. It doesn't really make a difference. But a deep pullback kind of into this previous range. Yearly open is down here. We also have that really deep retracement level, right? Bitcoin loves to make these 61.8 to 78.6 retracements while it moves. Okay, so again, I've talked about this, right? Everyone starts longing at the 50%, and then when it gets to the really deep retracement, and if you watch my video on ranges, I talk about longing at a discount, right, which would be below the EQ of the range, shorting at a premium. So if your bias is bullish, you want to long in the bottom part of the range. If your bias is bearish, you want to short in the upper part of the range, right? If you're selling, you want to sell at a premium. If you're buying, you want to buy at a discount. So when price finally gets to that discount here, everyone is flipped bearish because like, oh, it's gone too low, and then it makes a higher low, and then it continues on. And if you don't believe me, go look in your fucking chart. This happens all the time in Bitcoin and in every market. We're 60% off the low, right? So what, you know, I did this in my last video, but again, I'll do it here, right? I'm just gonna delete everything, makes it look cleaner, right? So what is this? If you're bearish, we just made a lower low on the daily here. There's a daily lower low. You're selling pullbacks. Everyone starts selling at 10.8. Now that we're up at 11.5, everyone thinks we're going to 14K again. Price is now at a premium. If we're going to continue down, this is where you want to sell. Everyone is too scared to sell here because like, oh, we've moved too far up. It's going to go up again. When in reality, we've literally pulled right back into like a bearish order block, into the OTE, or that 62 to 79% retracement, in a premium, in what has now been confirmed lower high, lower low, and then we get continuation to the downside. Right? This happens all the time on Bitcoin. It happens all the fucking time. Right? So I'll do another one here. right? Right into the 62%. What happened here on Twitter, right? Everyone thought we were going to 10K again, and then it dumps, right? I just don't want to lose all my sweet, sweet levels. Oops. Same shit here, right? So even here, right? This is a perfect example, right? So it loves to do these deep pullbacks. People think it doesn't, but it fucking does. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a huge fucking pullback all the way down to here, right? And then a higher low, and then continuation. But not gonna say this level. We have some potential support happening before. So finally, everyone started getting bullish going into 10K. I'm like, okay, good time to flip bearish. And then the market structure told me, right? Market structure agreed with my analysis. We made a high. What happened here? Here's your daily swing low. There's a lower low. What are you doing now? You're now selling rallies mode. What's this? This is a bearish order block right here. We just made a lower low on the daily. Retrace into the bearish order block. That's a sell. Right? I mean, this is kind of messy, but this could arguably be your next swing low. We've just broke. So next retrace, what do you want to do? You want to fucking sell it, in my opinion, because it looks like we're making another lower low. So this 9,500 level is a key weekly level, so it gave us some bounces, and I saw a lot of people buy this. First buy obviously was a good one. Or here's a buy of it, good buy. Next buy, really good. Next buy, really good. What happens when you get multiple touches of support, right? It gets weaker, and if you notice, huge bounce. Pretty big bounce, but less than this one. Big bounce, but less than this one. This one, tiny little bounce, and then gave up the go. It's that bouncing ball meme, right? There's your 6K floor. Every bounce got weaker, and then it finally broke. Same shit here, different day. Price is fractal. You'll see the same shit happen over and over again. So this level finally gave out, and now it looks like it's it is breaking down. So my target for my long or for my short is here. I'm front running my own target a little bit, but we are in an area where we could see a bounce here, right? You could argue that this is a 3-day order block right here. Here's my thinking though. This level already failed. Here. There's your test. There's your bounce. It's now failing. So to me, that's very bearish. Just looking at the 3-day, any sort of pullback that happens now here, you sell the fuck out of. So we could pull back to 96. We could pull all the way back up to 10. And I'm still selling down into here. This is my next target looking at the 3-day. Just looking at the 3-day, that looks clear as day to me that this shit is going to 8,700. And some of y'all are going to be getting some fucking retweets from Trader Mayne going, ha ha, just like Nelson. Because I'm petty like that. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I'm pretty happy that I think I nailed the fucking bottom, and I think I nailed the fucking top, and pretty much most of the moves in between. And I did a lot of it here on YouTube. If you go watch my YouTube videos from December, I talk about this being the bottom. You go watch my YouTube video from earlier this month, I talk about hedging here and this being the potential top. And I think I'm going to be right. That being said, I am macro bullish on Bitcoin. I am looking to buy here for a potential higher low and continuation. If that fails, I am looking to buy here for a potential higher low and continuation. I am a believer that this is the low, this is a high, and we're going to make a higher low. I am a believer that this entire, and I talked about this in a YouTube, I mean, that looks fucking brutal. I should have looked at this chart. This is making me question everything. But I am a believer that, this is a low, a high, and a higher low. That monthly candle looks really, really gross. So shouldn't have looked at that. But regardless, I'm a believer that we're doing this. And then This is just a higher low. But, you know, we could come down. Anything is fucking possible, right? So I'm prepared either way. I hedged a lot of Bitcoin above 10K. I am short right now. So if it goes down, I'm not, you know, don't want to see that just fucking pop up on my feed. Bitcoin will hit 100,000 by 2025, Justin Sun says. God, that monthly is just fucking hideous. Well, regardless, you know, let's play it level to level. You know, that's what I've been doing really well this entire time. As much as I, you know, called the bottom, called the top, what has served me well is we broke this level, I target the next level, right? You break down from this level, you target the next level. So play it level to level. You know, at the end of the day, forget what this instrument says, right? And just focus on the chart, playing it level to level. Obviously, I know that's harder to do with Bitcoin because you own Bitcoin, so you have an emotional attachment to it. If it goes up and you're in Tether, you're technically losing money. If it goes down and you're in Bitcoin, you're losing money. So I get that. I do think we're starting a bull market though. So, you know, at the end of the day, focus on just getting more Bitcoin right now. In a bear market, you want to accumulate USD. In a bull market, you want to accumulate Bitcoin. So I personally think we're in a bull market. There's all my thoughts. Hopefully it makes sense. I'm sorry this video was a little ranty, but wanted to get something up for you guys today. And hopefully this makes sense. But yeah, I'm bearish for now until proven otherwise. Targeting 9190, 8700, then if necessary, sub 8K. So I've been sticking to it. If you want to know what I'm doing, check my Twitter feed, check my YouTube videos. I've been consistent for the last 3 months with my thoughts. You can also find me at the Bitcoin Trade Group, www.bitcointradegroup.co. That's how you get into my Discord. I get a lot of DMs about my Discord. That's how you get into my Discord. So yeah, if you got any questions, let me know. But you know, for me, we just made a lower low here. What's your next trade? If you're looking to hop on the short train, don't short it now because there's a good chance we bounce soon. But right, there's your most recent H4 bearish order block. Any sort of bounce into there, I think, is a sell. Okay. But yeah, expecting a potential bounce here. You know, you could argue. I saw Flood post 9K. He said bid 9K. So where's 9K? 9K is like here. I don't disagree, right? Good chance we get a bounce from this area. But I think wherever that bounce goes, you short personally. But, you know, this could be an area to long. I see what he's saying. Right? Into here, bounce, short it. So we'll see. But that's my thoughts. I'll be back with another video probably this weekend for you guys. So if you have any questions, I still am answering DMs on Twitter. So just because I'm not tweeting, I'm still on there occasionally. So feel free to DM me. You can also DM me on Discord, Mayne hashtag 7962. You can DM me there. I do my best to answer. I'm more likely to answer a Discord DM than I am Twitter. I get so many Twitter DMs, it's just kind of unmanageable, but I'll do my best. Yeah, hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are making money. Hope everyone's relaxing. Everyone's freaking out, right? Like typical CT. This is another reason why it's good to take a break from Twitter because, you know, objectively, everyone's like, oh, fuck, we're fucked. Bitcoin's fucked. It's like, dude, we're up 60% since Christmas. 65% we went up since Christmas, and now we're down 10%, and you're losing your shit. Like, if you didn't make any money here, you know, then maybe I understand, but you could have just held Bitcoin and almost doubled your, you know, and gained 60% on your account just holding. So, you know, be objective, zoom the fuck out. We will have retraces in the uptrend, right? It will happen. So it's the way it is, and if you can't handle that, you know, you're in the wrong fucking instrument because this thing trends like a motherfucker. But, you know, look at this run we had to 20K, right? There's the run to 20K. How many times did this chart look like fucking dog shit? Huge run up, huge dump, right? Huge run up, huge dump. big ass dumps. Like, there's gonna be retraces. Anyone who tells you Bitcoin doesn't retrace is fucking stupid. Because what happens is it doesn't retrace here, right? And then it does retrace. It gives you a primo buying opportunity, but no one buys it, and then it continues to rip, and everyone's like, "Oh, it never retraces." It's like, fuck you, you're dumb. It absolutely does retrace, even on this most recent run to 14K, right? We had retraces here. That's a retrace. That's a retrace. On the way up here, they were shallow, but there were retraces. And eventually, and even here, this is a retrace that you could have bought. So Bitcoin does retrace. It just usually happens later than you think and deeper than you think. And usually that's why most people are too scared to buy them. But anyways, I will talk to you guys with another video this weekend. I will be back on Twitter in sometime in early March and posting, but I am gonna, just try and tone back on there. I know a lot of you guys, the majority of you guys, are great. It's usually always the minority, the small amount of people that are, that are the noisiest. Trolls, and I try to ignore them, but sometimes they get to me, and I figured, what better way, rather than trying to fucking argue and battle back, I'm just gonna step away, and it's been really nice. So like I said, feel free to hit me up in the DMs, feel free to DM me on Discord. I'll talk to you guys soon with another video.